Shot. Hi there. It's us. I'm Kim.
I'm Lauren.
And we are a Perfect Storm podcast.
Just to kind of like lay some groundwork, we'll do introductions first. So my name's Lauren. I got the idea to do this podcast after the recent shootings at the YMCA over here in Shreveport on Ninth Street. The YMCA is considered a pretty safe spot, so it kind of shook the community, and it was just a shooting, and we haven't heard anything else on who done it. And I'm sure, well, the community wants to know who done it, but I'm sure the family wants to know as well. So that's how the idea came about. I kicked it around on social media. Kim jumped in.
Yeah, I've been wanting to start something like this for a while because I realized there's so many crimes that go unsolved and uninvestigated. Maybe they intended to investigate and just never got around to it, or for some reason or another, they were covered up. Are we going live? Are we live?
I don't know.
Anybody chime in? Okay.
Oh my God.
No, that's you. Where's the live? Am I doing this wrong?
I don't know.
Somebody comment. Let us know. Are we even on here? Give us just.
You want to look at the screen?
Yeah, let me go check the screen real quick. Yeah, it looks like we're live. We have one viewer. It's probably you. Now we have two. Okay, we have two viewers. Hi, Missy. Hi, Lauren.
Okay, well, so those are technical difficulties that you will see more of in the future. We're gonna eventually have a bloopers reel. But anyway, so Kim was saying that the reason that you wanted to do this podcast
is I've seen several cases in East Texas recently that just were not investigated maybe properly or at all. And it bothers me. It bothers me because I'm a mom and I have children. And if that were my child, I would want them to investigate to the fullest, because every mother deserves to know what happened to their child and why.
So with all of that said, I live here in Shreveport, and then Kim, you live in
Whitman, Texas.
So that's East Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It's just north of I-20, north of Tyler,
Yes.
Glendale.
Yes.
Okay. So Kim has the beat on like the East Texas area, and I of course have the beat around here. So we're going to be covering all of this like Northwest Louisiana area, and then East Texas, and then kind of like whatever else maybe strikes our fancy or could possibly help.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm an attorney, and I get a lot of information on these cases. I do practice criminal law, practice family law, among other things, but I do get a lot of inside information on a lot of the crime that goes on around here, and I also practice in East Texas as well, so I know a lot about the crime that goes on over there, and I figure my knowledge or skill set is going to help us figure out what is going on with a lot of these cases.
I think too, I mean, give me your opinion on it, but don't you think that with it being the Louisiana-Texas line, some of that crime is coming back and forth across that border?
Oh, most definitely. And actually, I recently heard from a friend in law enforcement that the cartels, from south of the border, not just Mexico, but Central America, South America, they are active in the East Texas area and in this Northwest Louisiana area, and they are responsible for some of the crime and drug trafficking in this area. And fentanyl is the new thing around here. It's been other places, but
yeah, it's been other places for a while. But I lived in the valley, right on the Mexican border for about 10 years. And we know firsthand that, the drugs and crime go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. So, in East Texas, have you noticed any sort of cartel activity like you would see on the border?
No, not where I live. We live in a very small, very sheltered town. I think I would see it more if I lived in maybe Tyler, Longview area. Definitely Dallas.
I don't know if we're going that far west.
That's quite a little jaunt from over here. So
that's a whole different beast. I feel like Dallas is
over here.
Yeah, let's stay in this area.
But but you know what? No matter what, whether it's cartel crime or straight up crime, it still deserves to be investigated.
Well, we don't know how it's all connected. All we know, generally, as just regular people, all we know is what the media tells us. And as an attorney who's in the courtroom and seeing people prosecuted, the media doesn't understand what's happening in the courtroom. The media doesn't understand what the DA is doing. And the media doesn't understand fully what the police department's doing. And I know for a fact that the police department is not sharing everything with the public or the media because of cases that are under investigation.
Right.
Or they don't know, they don't want to know, or maybe they're in on it.
There's always reasons. There's always reasons that they have for not sharing that, but it's kind of something that the public needs to know in order to protect themselves from that crime to continue. And if the people who are committing the crimes are never prosecuted, what incentive is there to not commit more crimes?
Well, that's the issue that we have around here, is that they continue to arrest people and lock up people, but the crime continues. So what exactly is happening? But the point is, we are open to investigating all leads. It doesn't matter where it comes from, however crazy or out there. I've generally found where there's smoke, there's fire. So we're open to investigating all aspects.
And there's a little truth to every rumor.
Right.
There's always a little bit of truth in every rumor. So if you've heard something,
and urban legends,
yeah, absolutely. Get on there. Just send us a tip. We'll be the ones investigating. Your nose won't be stuck out there whatsoever. It's just, let us know, and we'll see what pans out of it, out of the leads that you can offer us.
Yeah, so we're open to any and all input, well, excluding trolls, fuck a troll. If you don't have anything, enriching to provide, you can go kick rocks, seriously. But we are pretty serious about this, our idea. We are serious about helping and figuring out some things, but we need your help. We need the public's help. And if you want to be anonymous, fine. We have no problem protecting your identity. We won't tell who you are.
Absolutely.
You don't have to. Well, trust is earned, right? But
yes.
Anonymous tips are welcome. That's fine. We're not like the media where you have to reveal your sources. No, you don't have to reveal.
Well, and just keep in mind that every one of the people that we're going to kind of introduce you a little bit to tonight, they have a family. And that family has, a desire to see their loved one receive justice. Whether they're going to receive justice through law enforcement or whether they're going to receive justice through, just knowing that somebody still cares and that their loved one's name is still out there on someone's lips, it makes a difference. And that's what I want to be, is the difference. We keep hearing, be the change, and I keep preaching it, and now it's time for me to do what I've been preaching.
Yeah, this is exciting.
And then I met this lady, and she's crazy, but she's great.
And this is going to be a pain in the ass. This is going to be hard.
It's going to be hard.
And we intend to do this every week. So we're going to spend the week gathering information, talking to people, following up on leads, and then we're going to come together once a week for an hour and just basically discuss things, share what we have, and then open ourselves up to more feedback and tips on these. So I think we got introductions, why we're here, why we started this, the format.
The format is going to be what we're kind of playing with right now as far as how we're going to bring it, whether it's going to be strictly the YouTube channel or the YouTube channel and Facebook all together. We're still trying to figure that out.
I would like to go through YouTube, but we found out tonight that with YouTube you need to have 50 subscribers. I don't know. I read books for a living. The technology is like new to me. I watch YouTube. I'm a fan of YouTube.
I'm trying to learn, but I'm an old dog, so new tricks come hard, but I'm trying very hard to learn stuff.
But no offense to Facebook, I would prefer YouTube.
Absolutely.
It just seems like a wider audience, more open.
More coverage.
Yeah.
More coverage, and that's what we want. The more we get these names out there, the more we put it out there that we're trying to find something, the better chances that somebody will come forward on that one.
Right.
Whether it was just I saw this car drive by their house that day, or any little thing. You may not think it's significant, but it could be the very thing that solves that case.
Okay, so we want to share with y'all the format so you kind of know what to expect if you intend to tune back in. There's no shortage of crime around here, and unfortunately, there's no shortage of murders. Like when it comes to murders per capita, here in Shreveport, Louisiana, we're pretty up there. And a lot of them are unsolved. So that's why we started this. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the victims, the people who were found, killed, murdered, they were found. They're not here anymore with us.
Right.
And their killers or what happened to them is still a mystery. So we want to start with focusing on them as people. We want to learn about them. Who were these people? Where did they go to school? Where did they grow up? Who they hang out with? Most people are killed by someone that they knew. The random murders are rare.
Yeah, it's a very low percentage that's random.
So I feel like it's important for us to know and understand who these people were. And then their connections to the community, their activities, their daily lives. So we'll be exploring that. And then once we get to know who they were, I think that's going to lead us to the potential killers. Or maybe, they could have been accidents. Some of them could have been accidents. I don't know. The ones we're going to cover tonight are pretty scary.
I'm pretty sure these weren't accidents.
These seem a little intentional.
Yeah, very intentional. But, do you think that at some point we would want to cover missing persons as well? Or is that too far out of our realm? Okay. Because I know that, you were talking about the cartels, and the drugs go hand in hand with human trafficking and sex trafficking.
Yes.
And those things are all, every single one of us is at risk of either ourselves or a family member falling prey to that.
Yes. I've learned in practicing law around here, human trafficking is real. People disappear. And depending on what sort of profile person you are is going to determine the sort of coverage you get.
And the chances of getting them back decrease every day that they're gone. Mm-hmm. They're pretty good at moving them from city to city. And I do have some resources with some people that, can help us with the human trafficking if we ever need that for a case.
Oh, yeah. Any educated input is welcome. So the type of victim oftentimes determines the sort of coverage they get. And one of our victims, we're going to really address that tonight. Do you want to go ahead and, what are the pronouns? What are her pronouns?
Oh,
Oh, we don't know.
no, I'm sure Miranda Steed.
No, the lady who was
Oh, she, her.
Birdsong or something.
Yes, Jerry Judd. Jerry Judd, who also went by Phoenix River Song, was a very well-known person in the trans community here in Bossier City, Louisiana, which is, you could throw a rock from Shreveport and hit Bossier, so it's not like you had to drive far to get there. So yes, they went by she, her, and they did a lot of good for the trans community.
Well, I don't want to get into her just yet, but
Okay.
I'm using her as an example of my point. This person, it looks like this person was murdered like years ago,
Yes.
not recently, but I'm just finding out about it. And I have a feeling that I'm just now finding out about it is because people in the trans community, they don't get this sort of media attention and coverage.
No,
And a lot of
absolutely.
people from underserved areas, disenfranchised classes, if they come up missing or they end up murdered, they don't get the sort of coverage that a white middle class woman would get.
Well, maybe they don't have a lot of family to push the issue either. You got to think about that too. A lot of people, when they come out as trans or gay, they lose their families.
Mm-hmm.
And so, without having a family that has some kind of clout behind them, it's not going to be investigated the same way the mayor's daughter going missing would.
Exactly.
And everybody in our community should have the same investigation done, regardless of any of their orientations.
Yes, and so that right there, that is a goal of this podcast. We don't care about, I don't even care how they live their lives. I don't care if they were the worst of the worst criminal.
No, because every mama out there deserves to know why her child died. Every person out there deserves to know why their friend died.
Yeah, so we don't care about sex, race, skin
Sex,
color,
drugs, or rock and
culture,
roll.
all of the above.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're all humans. And that's what should come first.
And, I believe that this is all of our problem. Even, Kim lives in East Texas. What happens in Shreveport affects her. That's how we met.
Exactly.
What happens here affects there, and what happens there affects here. And then what happens in a community or a neighborhood, just a few miles from me, affects me here in my community or my neighborhood.
Yes, it does. And so, if you're not part of the solution, you are part of the...
Yeah, the problem.
Exactly. And I think a lot of us live our life in complacency. I'm guilty. Living my little sheltered life over, in my little house in my tiny town. You get complacent. You get complacent to the heavy crime.
I think a lot of people, especially around here, they get complacent to going home and turning on channel 3, 6, 12, whatever, and using that as their only news source.
Mm.
Like, the local news channels, they cover a small portion of what actually happens in our communities.
Well, I think I read several different news articles for Jerry Judd. One stated she was stabbed, the other stated she was shot.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's...
It's a big difference there.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking forward to getting into these cases. Okay, so our format's going to be, we're going to focus on the victim, get to know them, who they are, and then we will get into the juicy, like, whodunit. And it's gonna be a little scary. And, I'm going to reiterate, tips can be anonymous. They're greatly appreciated.
Yes.
And I'm just throwing this out there, but anybody want to come at me, well, good luck.
Yep.
But we are serious about, this stuff. We ain't scared.
Nope. If I can do good for one of the people that we try to help, then that's worth it.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And, I hope that more people will see this and be brave. I hope that more people will start looking, start asking, start talking within your community. Start your own podcast. Do something.
Or join ours.
Yes,
We're going to be open to having guests.
Do something. Everybody needs to do something.
So, we just touched on something, the fear. I think a lot of these crimes go unsolved just because of the fear that people have. People are afraid of retaliation.
With good reason.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I think it's urban legend stuff.
I don't know. There's a lot of times that I've seen retaliation be the motive. That usually there's 3 reasons for a murder: money, drugs, or sex. But there, a lot of times, ends up being retaliation murders. And, you might think, okay, for me, but my family. I don't want them to go after my family. And so people are afraid, and especially if they have to live in a community right there next to these people.
Yeah.
So,
It's a Shreveport's. I consider Shreveport a small town.
compared to Quitman, it's huge.
Okay, well it's.
We have like 4,000 people in our town.
Y'all know everybody. Okay, so let's get into the people that we will be discussing this week.
Okay.
And we're just opening the door right now. So just because we talk about them tonight doesn't mean we won't be talking about them in the future. This is just the beginning. We're just opening the door and throwing out ideas right now.
The reason we're putting out names tonight is so hopefully we will get some leads in that we can work on through the week so that we can focus on one person for our next podcast. And really get a lot of information put out there about that person.
It's going to take a lot of information. An hour, one person?
It is not hard, though. It really is not if people step up.
Right.
If I have to go digging and digging and digging and get nothing, I'm going to come with my little empty bag and that's going to be it.
Yeah.
So, everybody just really needs you to get the word out that we're doing this, that we want help.
I'm going to be honest, I think that so many people are so afraid. I think we're going to have a tough time getting to...
At first, we may have to do more than one per episode.
Yeah.
Just to keep bringing them back up again and say, hey, remember this a few weeks ago? Well, guess what? We found something,
I've also learned around here, and it's really sad, but a lot of people just don't care. They just want to... Don't look at me. I'm serious.
Really?
I am so serious.
Not my problem, not my circus, not
They
my
just...
monkeys,
Yeah. They just want to go to work, come home, and that's it. They just want to live their lives. They don't want to get involved. And I don't understand. That shouldn't... I don't think that's all that surprising because, that's how all of this continues to happen. The crime, we have huge child abuse problems, domestic abuse problems, and all of that stuff continues and propagates because people don't want to get involved. So I think we're going to have a lot of work to do as far as investigating. Y'all are welcome, tips, feedback, all of that stuff. I'm a very collaborative person, but based on my experience working in the community, I think it's going to be tough getting tips.
I'm not above going out knocking on doors
Okay.
in neighborhoods where they live.
You got to bring your mace because all the loose dogs.
Oh, Lord, I'll be taking them all home with me.
Okay.
Be like the Pied Piper with my little parade of dogs coming behind me. Okay, are we ready to meet some of these people?
Yeah, number one. Who are we talking about first?
We're going to talk about a girl named Miranda Streed. She is from East Texas.
Could you spell Miranda Street, please?
Miranda. Streed is Streed.
Okay. Where's she from?
She is from, the murder happened in Upshur County, Texas, and I understand that she's from Gladewater and Mineola area.
Where's Upshur County?
Upshur County would be like Union Union Grove, and just right outside of Gladewater. It's not in Gregg County, but it's a little further north.
Okay. You're saying all these names like I know them.
I know. It's I don't really even know half the counties.
Give it to me in relation to like the big cities like Longview.
It would be north of Longview.
North of Longview?
North of Longview, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so who is Miranda Streed?
Well, what I know about her right now, she was 23 years old when she died. She had a little boy, and she had been into drugs for a while, but was trying to turn her life around, had recently started going back to church, and, you know, just really trying to help other people who were on drugs, and allegedly was still selling certain types of drugs out of her home, but not, you know, again, it's allegedly, and that there were several people in the home when it happened.
Oh, really? So a lot of witnesses?
Yes. However, she's the only one that was shot and killed. And they, I think, took the cell phones away from the other people in there. And this is one I'm really going to have to hunt and find some people to talk to, because everything that I've read, I delved into her Facebook page and just anything that was public knowledge. And so it looks to me like the family was just kind of pushed away by the sheriff's department and did not want to discuss with them. And to this day, they still cannot even get a police report on this. I don't know how true that is. That, like I said, that's all alleged, but I am going to find out.
Okay, so what year was this again?
It was in 2017.
So she was found in 2017?
Yes.
In Upshur County, do you know what town it was? Or was it a
I
town?
understood it was Union Grove, I think is what they said.
Union Grove?
Union Grove or Union City. I'm gonna have to do some. Union Grove. It's Union Grove.
Union Grove.
Yeah, it's got the address and everything. And
so was she like born and raised around?
in East Texas, yes. Yes, her family still lives there.
I mean, is it like a sort of situation where she was like born and raised, lived in the same house, you know, from elementary school to high school, or
I'm not sure.
did they move around a bunch, or?
I don't know on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's just something that somebody gave me a tip on for her name, and so I pulled everything I could pull on her, and it just really wasn't much. It was really not.
Well, I mean, we actually do have a lot. We know where, you know, she kind of stayed in the area. She's from the area.
Yes.
That means she knew a lot of people, and a lot of people knew her. So she wasn't some random transient person just passing through.
No, and she had a lot of friends who posted on her page after she passed and stuff, so she is definitely missed.
So does she have a memorial page?
Yes.
I'm gonna check the time. So we got about 30 minutes left. Okay, so she was 23 whenever she was killed?
Yes.
How was she killed?
She was shot through the arm and through the head.
So she was shot twice?
That's what I would expect, unless she had put her arm up over her face like this.
Oh.
As a defensive.
Ah. So she
Yeah,
saw
because
him coming.
some of the witnesses said she rushed at the gunman. And I don't know if she was trying to protect the other people that were in the house. These are all things that, you know, flies on the wall would know, but I don't. But yeah, so it was a shot through the arm and then one through the head. So that could either be two shots
Or the same
or
shot.
the same shot that was like that.
But so she was running at the person, maybe, or she was laying down.
I think, well, the witnesses said she rushed the gunman.
Wow. That's a pretty audacious person.
Brave, I would say.
So that kind of raises the question, you know, was she an audacious person by nature, or Was she intoxicated? Was she on drugs?
Something we definitely need to look into, but
A little liquid courage, or
I mean, it was
methamphetamine makes people feel
12:30 a.m. So it is a possibility. I have been intoxicated at 12:30 a.m. before.
I don't really know what that's like.
I almost believed you for a second.
I know.
Like,
you're like, who is this person sitting next to me?
Wow, okay.
I couldn't count on one hand.
I don't want to cancel your delusions if that's what you want to believe.
Anyway, 1:30 a.m. So that was her pronounced time of death?
12:30 a.m.
Oh, my bad. I said 1:30.
That's when deputies responded to a call.
Oh, that's when they
responded. So I'm assuming it happened immediately before that, or, just a little before that.
Okay, so what I'm saying
anyway,
is, like,
it was still the middle of the night.
It happened, and immediately the police were called.
That's what it leads me to believe on here.
Because it's not like she was just found hours or days later after.
No, but if the one thing I read where they took everyone's cell phones away, it doesn't really say how the police were called.
Well, and then
or who the people were that were in the home with her.
Well, who took the cell phones away?
The person who shot her. That there were several people, several armed men that came to the house.
See, that sounds like cartel stuff.
Yeah, it sure does. And that was just in 2017, and that was not that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
But it's been a long time to have no answers, too.
So, okay, how old was her child, or is her child now?
I have no idea. I think he was just a toddler, I guess, whenever she...
He was a toddler?
Passed, yeah.
Was he present?
It doesn't say, but I'm assuming not. Okay.
And then what drugs was she associated with?
The articles that I read basically said that, she was selling marijuana from her home, but that she...
Selling marijuana?
Had been into harder drugs, and she was turning her life around from that and trying to help others do the same thing. So I don't know what, if anything else, was found in the home.
Okay, so she was known for selling marijuana from home. And she had started going back to church. So when this stuff was happening, whenever you were explaining this earlier, my little spidey senses were saying, okay, boyfriend, ex-husband, was she ever married?
Not to my knowledge.
Was she straight,
She had boyfriends. I did find some boyfriends that she had been with on her Facebook page.
Boyfriends?
I don't know a boyfriend. I don't know if she was still with the boyfriend or if he was the father of her child. It did not really say.
Yeah.
So that's something that, maybe talking to family would help.
Yeah.
Help get me some answers on that one.
Mm-hmm.
If they're willing to talk.
Right. And I mean, I can imagine I probably already offended somebody.
Don't be offended by her. She doesn't mean to be offensive.
You can be offended all you want. I don't care.
She is just trying to get her point across.
And
the truth.
I am 39 years old. I am too old to be defending myself anymore. I ain't doing anything wrong. Okay?
Absolutely.
I am doing my thing. If you don't like it, well, there's a gazillion other things to watch. So boyfriends, boys get jealous. So, like I said, my spidey senses went off about that. And then when you said that it was suspected that she was allegedly still selling, that made me think CIs, confidential informants. The way confidential informants work is they get popped, they get busted, and in exchange for their freedom to not be prosecuted hard and thrown away in prison, they get to run the streets, have their little drug game, and in exchange, they have to give the police information. but nobody likes a snitch. So, was she a CI? Was somebody she knew a CI?
It's a good possibility.
Was the police officer who didn't write the report, was she his CI or her?
I don't know. That's a good question, though. That's a very good question.
So that's what my little spidey senses told me. Ex-boyfriend or present boyfriend, and then the drugs. Like we said, money, sex, money.
And drugs.
Yeah. And then a lot of witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, where did this rumor that all of their phones were taken start?
That was what they were. That's what was told to the investigators, I suppose. Was that the house was rushed by gunmen, and she ran at the gunman and was shot, but they didn't kill anyone else in the house. They just took their phones away.
Did they return their phones? No.
It doesn't say whether they were returned or not, so I'm going to assume not. I mean, why would... Okay, and here you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for being good little hostages. Here's your phones back.
So you're going off of media reports.
Social media, that's all that I would...
Social media.
There's not much of anything out there on Google. Very little. So it was dig into Facebook and start looking through her friends, looking through her friends' friends, and...
So somebody knows what happened.
Somebody knows. Absolutely they
Somebody's probably, because of all the witnesses.
Yeah, and if they didn't before, I guarantee you most people will blab at some point. If you did something, you're going to tell somebody. Either when you're drinking or when you're high, you're going to tell somebody.
Pillow talk is another one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, somebody knows something, and somebody else probably knows something by now. And whether they're afraid to talk, I don't know.
Okay, you want to move on to the next person?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not. Miranda Street case is wide open. So any feedback?
There's so many directions that thing could go in.
Okay.
So the next one is going to leave even a more wide open area because there's really nothing, no information. That is Jerry Judd, the trans person from Shreveport, or Bossier City, Bossier City.
How do you spell their name?
Geri.
Geri.
Judd.
Judd.
Yes. And they went by the name Phoenix River Song, I guess, for the trans community. My app's turned off. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry about that, folks. They went to do a welfare check.
Well, let's do like the who, what, when, where, why.
Alright. So, Jerry Judd was murdered on September 28th of 2021. That was 2 years ago.
September 28th, 2021?
Mm-hmm. The police had responded to a welfare check at the Santa Fe Apartments. Officers discovered the resident inside deceased at the time. From what I could understand from some of the other articles I read, that they had been there for a little bit. It was not a very recent thing.
Yeah. So,
they were discovered, but that they were shot.
So they've been deceased for a while.
Mm-hmm. The investigation revealed that the death was a homicide. They were active in a lot of marches for the trans community. They marched for other trans people who had been murdered previously. And so, my instinct on that one says it's a hate crime.
You think it's a hate crime?
I think it's a hate crime.
I'm sorry, I hate to do this, but to rewind on the last one on the Miranda Street case, what kind of gun did they say it was? Or do they know?
No.
So we don't know what kind of gun.
It was not on the thing.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. Okay,
No,
back
okay.
to Phoenix River Song.
Okay. So, the investigation revealed it was a homicide. The victim was identified as Jerry Judd. That's pretty much where the information ends.
And your feeling is that it was a hate crime?
I feel like it was a hate crime. I don't have proof. I don't have evidence. But just the fact that they were, they weren't out causing problems. They weren't doing anything that typically gets you murdered, except being who they really were.
No drugs?
Not in any of the articles that I read. The person who gave us the name to look into, said they were the kindest person and always, were so welcoming and receptive to anyone.
So, do we think that Phoenix River Song was killed inside of her apartment?
That's what I understood.
And then I wonder, if the perpetrator, came in, was invited in, was a guest?
What I was kind of questioning, if they were that welcoming and that, open to providing that acceptance for other people, would they have turned anybody away from their door, or would they have opened their door for anyone? Obviously if they let them in, they weren't afraid of them for some reason, so they must not have presented a threat at that moment. But it will be interesting to find out exactly what the inside of the house layout was. Were they found sitting on their couch murdered? Were they, in front of the door and fallen to the floor? That we don't know those things.
How they were shot, where they were shot.
Correct.
Shot in the front, shot in the back. Any defensive?
No, we don't know any of that. So that's all it says, is that she was shot, and that's pretty much where the investigation kind of ended on that. Are we still online?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Well, so I guess we'll spend this next week gathering information on Phoenix River Song.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we would really appreciate some tips, insight on that one. We'd like to learn more about Phoenix River Song's connection to the different communities. I mean, I'm probably going to look up the Santa Fe apartments and see what's going on. Are there a lot of...
We have to realize too that sometimes it's a mistaken identity, or oops, I got the wrong apartment. It happens.
Yeah.
It just happens. But we need to make sure that, we talk to neighbors. If they're apartments, though, 2 years may be too long to find anybody who lived there.
I don't know. Some people stay in apartments for a long time.
Okay. That's a good
I mean,
point.
I don't know. Anything's possible. Like I said, I would want to look up, what kind of apartments are these?
Right.
Is it like a gated community, or is it,
Low income. I mean, it makes a difference. It shouldn't, but it does.
And then, where did Phoenix River Song work? Did she work?
I don't know. I know that they
What was her source of income?
They were I think that she was disabled. She walked with a cane and was really, struggling to do the marches that she did for the trans community and for people who had been killed.
How old was she?
Oh my goodness, she was... It does not stay on here.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, but no, she was very much an older person. She wasn't
An older person?
Yeah, she wasn't young. She wasn't in her 20s or 30s or even 40s. She was probably in her 50s or 60s.
Well, it's just like all questions lead to more questions, because now I'm like, you say 50s or 60s?
50s or 60s. I'm guessing that's, yeah.
And I wonder where she was from. Where did she grow up?
From what I understood,
Was she dating anyone?
It did not. That's something else we need to look into.
Ooh, all these questions are going to give me a headache.
Dating.
Yeah.
Because within the community, it seems like if it's not a hate crime, then it's a crime of passion.
Yeah. To come into somebody's house and shoot them in their own house? I mean, I would think most people would wait.
Well, you would think so, right?
To just barge into someone's home and kill them. That's
pretty bold.
See, what are these people around here smoking?
I don't know. I just hope
I'd never do something like
hope
that.
It doesn't waft out into the community.
Oh, and it already has. I've heard rumors that there is so much methamphetamine in our wastewater, in our sewer wastewater. It's just it's an astronomical number that the scientists have never even seen before. Couldn't fathom.
Terrible.
A lot of people are on drugs around here.
That's why we drink filtered water.
Yeah. Okay, who's next?
All right, I want to go over Brittany McLeod.
Okay, could you spell that, please?
Brittany, and then capital M, small c, capital G, Lone.
Okay.
Okay, she was murdered on May the 4th of 2007, and I know this is going to be one of our older ones.
May 4th, 2007.
That's a minute ago.
That's 16 years ago?
Mm-hmm. She was 19 at the time she died.
That's crazy. Another young woman. Well, another woman. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Phoenix River, would Phoenix River song she her?
She was an older lady, yes.
Okay.
The trans lady. But Miranda Street was a young woman.
Yeah.
Brittany McLeod is a young woman. And it's also another East Texas, but with a different county. That's in my county, Wood County.
This is Wood County?
Yes.
So what town was she murdered in?
She was murdered in Winsboro, Texas.
Whenever you said Winsboro, it made me think of the Louisiana one. There's a Louisiana Winsboro too.
There's a Quitman, Louisiana too.
Yes! Yes! It confuses people. Winsboro. Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay.
So the who, what, when, where, why, how?
Well, she was at her boyfriend's home, but her boyfriend and his family were all gone. They had gone out of town for the day. She had finished her shift at work and gone over there to take a nap. And,
That's weird.
yeah, I thought that was a little odd, but, sometimes their house might be quieter, especially if they're all going to be gone, to, get some sleep if you worked all night. So anyway, she went over there, she finished her shift.
Where'd she work at?
I am not sure. It just says she worked an overnight shift and then went to her boyfriend's house in Winsboro. Anyway, the family told the investigators they weren't there. The boyfriend's family told the investigators that they weren't home at the time. According to Brittany's sister Hope, when they arrived back home the boyfriend arrived back home around 2:30 p.m. that day, is when he found Brittany beaten to death in his bedroom.
Okay, so the first two were shot.
Mm-hmm.
This one is beaten to death.
Beaten to death.
Okay.
And the boyfriend, denied having anything to do with his girlfriend's death, and they never found any evidence. I mean, his alibi was pretty strong, I guess, so.
Well, his parents were his alibi, right?
Yes, and they were all gone. On August 31st of 2020.
Allegedly. Sorry.
Allegedly.
Not to be rude
Yes,
or disrespectful to anyone, but come on. This looks shady as all.
Right. Allegedly gone.
Come on.
Now, on August,
I'm not the only one thinking it.
No, you're not. And a lot of people did for a lot of years. In August of 2022, though, over 15 years after she was killed, the Wood County Sheriff's Office announced a major breakthrough in the case, and they had obtained an arrest warrant for Chad Earl Carr. C-A-R-R.
Chad Earl
Carr, yes. For capital murder. Carr was taken into custody the following day in Dallas and booked into Wood County Jail. At that point, they felt like they had overwhelming evidence against him based on a search warrant that they got. An affidavit said the police executed a search warrant on Carr's home just over 3 weeks after Brittany was killed, and allegedly took into evidence women's undergarments with possible blood stains, a pair of shorts, and a gray ski mask. The affidavit alleged probable cause in the case that included Carr. He was once convicted of an aggravated assault that bore similarities to Brittany's murder. He also allegedly failed a lie detector test. There were gaps in his alibi, and he knew the victim's whereabouts. I'm not sure what his connection to her was, if he was just somebody she knew, or if maybe he was a spurned guy who wanted to date her and she was with this other guy. I don't know. But anyway, they thought they had enough evidence, and they arrested him, and the grand jury did not indict him. So the grand jury obviously thought the evidence that was presented to them by the district attorney was not strong enough to hold that case up, and they didn't indict him, and he was released. So as of today's date, they thought they were going to get justice in 2022, and it didn't happen. And justice being served, let's put this out there, if this guy didn't do it, we don't want him in jail for it, because that means the person who did is still out there. But if he did do it, then obviously he should be in jail.
Okay. So this is definitely a pretty disturbing case. Very strange case. I want to know where she worked, and I, of course, want to know how she knew this guy. And then my question is, what are all the DNA evidence? And I know what we see on TV isn't how police departments often operate. Like, a lot of police departments don't have budgets. They don't get stuff tested. They don't even handle evidence in the proper way. So it's very possible that 16 years later, this evidence was just trash. But, I mean, clothing with blood, you have a victim with blood, can't you...
Those are all questions that we need answers to, is what happened, where's the DNA in this?
I mean, 2007, I mean, they've been exonerating people since, like, the late 90s at least, on DNA evidence. So the technology's there. So I don't know if this police department or...
We have the genealogical DNA testing as well, where they can test and come up with people in the family of the person who did it.
How they got that serial killers.
That's right.
So another question I have is, who was the DA? Because DAs have a lot of discretion in how they prosecute.
Okay, so during the time of the murder back in 2007, I have no idea who the DA was at that time, but the DA who was in charge in 2022 was Angela Albers.
2022, Angela Albers?
That's correct.
When she couldn't persuade a grand jury to indict, you know, they say a grand jury will indict a ham sandwich.
If they are convinced.
Well, the point is, the grand juries are known for indicting, like, people.
Anybody for anything.
Yeah, and.
Yeah. Nope. She could not get the indictment, and Wood County Sheriff Kelly Cole stated that he felt that an injustice was done. Allegedly, that's the evidence that I have read so far. And I've actually messaged Brittany's mother and asked for her blessing to bring this case before the public.
Mm-hmm.
And she is very giving us her blessing, and is very grateful that we're getting it out there.
The family still wants answers.
Yes, of course. And
yeah.
Regardless of whether we get all the answers or not, there's still a murderer walking around. If he lives still in Wood County, you know, he might be my next door neighbor. I sure hope not.
I think we need to talk to the mother more.
Absolutely.
Because the mom's going to know so much.
Miss Patricia, if you're watching this, just please know that we'll be getting in touch with you very soon.
And anybody else.
And anybody else you can think of, yes.
So, you say, you know, the DA couldn't indict somehow. And then the sheriff believes that an injustice was done. I know just here in Caddo, the DA and the sheriff don't get along. So, you know, the people got to remember also, behind the scenes of a lot of this stuff is fucking politics. These politicians in charge, the DA is elected, the sheriff is elected. Sometimes it is just about politics. It's not even about justice, you know, and finding who actually did it. It is it's politics and numbers.
Yep. And
it's terrible. It's sad.
It is. You know,
we have 2 minutes, and we have 2 more people. We're gonna get to these people more in the future, but it was the YMCA shooting.
Marvin Carter,
a young man, 24 years old.
Just a baby, yes.
Shot here in Shreveport at the YMCA on 9th Street.
5:30 in the afternoon.
And they waited for him.
Yeah, and they've released photographs of who they believe was the pickup truck that they were driving. I've seen the pictures of it. It's like a gray.
Yeah, I saw it on Next Door.
Yes.
With freaking blacked out windows.
Yep.
That pisses me off.
Illegal, by the way.
Pisses me off so much.
I'd get pulled over for those.
Well, people do.
And then the other one is going to be Jeremy.
Jeremy
Harris. It's another older case. It's been over 10 years.
What year was that?
He passed away in...
What was it? It was 2011?
It was 11.
2011?
2011, yes. He was 29 years old.
So, we'll definitely be looking into Jeremy's case more. I knew Jeremy personally. We worked together. We used to tease each other. He used to call me the girl next door, which I always just thought was hilarious because I don't really think of myself as a girl next door type. But he used to always tease me like that. And so I liked him. He's a very nice guy. He wasn't this mean, angry person. When you hear people talk about the dead, you know that a lot of it's embellishment. You know, a lot of those people were shitheads. Jeremy was a nice guy. Wow. He was nice, fun. It was definitely an odd thing, and it kind of shocked everyone that they had no leads on the killer. And so the rumor is he left work in the middle of the night. It was probably like around maybe like 3, 4 a.m., you know, around those hours. Or maybe it was in the early morning.
Well, he was working at a nightclub, so going home after work means you got to clean up, lock up, do the day stuff.
So we went home, and I mean, the rumor is he was killed right over here in Highland on Dalzell. That's just a few blocks.
Nice neighborhood, isn't it?
No.
Okay.
No, Dalzell's like notoriously bad. There's all kinds of, but it's Highland and it's Shreveport, so no place in Shreveport's safe. But anyway, we will definitely be talking more about Jeremy. Somebody knows something. He had a girlfriend. He had neighbors. Somebody knows something. So we're going to definitely be looking into that. And we're already a minute over.
Okay, well, guys, till next week, thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube once we get this uploaded. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Bye.